In early 2026, France finds itself at the heart of a complex and escalating refugee crisis. It's a nation caught in a paradox. While its government doubles down on security, surveillance, and deportations, thousands of people fleeing war, poverty, and persecution continue to see it as a gateway to safety. This isn't just a news headline. It's a daily reality playing out on its northern shores, in its bustling cities, and across its overseas territories. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the state of the refugee and migrant situation in France as it stands in 2026, exploring the key trends, the policies shaping it, and the human stories at its core. Let's start with the numbers. The sheer volume of people seeking refuge in France has remained persistently high. Following a peak of over 153,000 asylum applications in 2024, the influx has not slowed. The primary drivers are ongoing conflicts and instability in countries like Sudan and Afghanistan. In fact, Afghans have become one of the most significant groups, with over 70% of their applications for protection being granted in 2024. This high acceptance rate signals the dire and undeniable reality they are fleeing. Adding to this, legal decisions in late 2025 have opened new pathways for Palestinians escaping the devastation in Gaza to seek asylum in France, further shifting the demographics of those arriving. One of the most visible and contentious flashpoints remains the English Channel. Thousands of people, desperate to reach the United Kingdom, continue to risk their lives in small, overcrowded boats. This is happening despite a controversial one-in, one-out return scheme established with the UK. The policy was meant to be a deterrent, but its effectiveness is questionable. In January 2026, we saw this tension boil over as over 100 asylum seekers held protests inside detention centers, a clear sign that the return mechanisms are not stopping the crossings, but are instead creating bottlenecks of frustration and despair. For these individuals, the dream of a new life in the UK outweighs the very real dangers of the journey and the threat of being sent back. In response to these pressures, the French government has adopted what many describe as a war on immigration approach. In late 2025, a massive crackdown was launched. Thousands of police officers conducted coordinated operations in major transport hubs like Paris, Lyon, and Marseille. The goal was clear: to identify and detain undocumented individuals for rapid deportation. This strategy has been paired with a relentless cycle of camp evacuations, particularly in the Calais region. Makeshift camps, which provide a fragile semblance of community and shelter, are constantly being dismantled. According to NGOs on the ground, thousands of forced evacuations took place throughout 2024 and 2025. People's tents and belongings are cleared away, but with nowhere else to go, they simply move a short distance, and the camps reappear, perpetuating a cycle of displacement and hardship. The crisis isn't confined to the borders. Its effects ripple across the entire country, placing immense strain on social, health, and housing services. There's a critical shortage of accommodation for asylum seekers, leaving many in precarious living situations, sometimes on the streets. This is not just a problem in Paris or Calais. Regional towns and cities are also struggling to cope, highlighting a significant imbalance in how the burden is shared across France. While the focus is often on the northern coast, other areas are facing their own unique challenges. The French overseas territory of Mayotte, for instance, continues to experience extreme pressure, with major camp evacuations and a humanitarian situation that is often overlooked in mainland discussions. The legal and policy landscape is also undergoing a major transformation in 2026. At the European level, the new Pact on Migration and Asylum is being implemented. This pact represents a significant hardening of the EU's collective stance. It emphasizes faster border screenings, stricter detention rules for those whose applications are rejected, and a more streamlined process for returns. The core idea is to process people at the border and quickly filter out those deemed unlikely to receive asylum. For France, this means more pressure to be an effective gatekeeper for the European Union. Technology is playing a crucial role in this new enforcement-first approach. By April 2026, A new digital border control system, known as the Entry-Exit System, or EE, is in full effect. This system replaces traditional passport stamps with biometric data collection. When a non-EU national enters the Schengen area, their fingerprints and a facial image are captured and stored in a central database. This makes it far easier for authorities to track who is in the country and, more importantly, to identify anyone who has overstayed their visa. For the French government, the EES is a powerful tool for enforcing deportations and tightening its grip on who comes in and who must leave. However, the story is not just one of policy and enforcement. Amidst this hardening national stance, there are glimmers of a different approach at the local level. Here, integration is not just a policy debate. It's a practical necessity. Local actors, municipalities, associations, and citizens are often the ones on the front lines, providing direct support to new arrivals. In some regions, there's a growing recognition that migrants can be a vital part of the solution to local challenges. For example, sectors like logistics and agriculture are facing significant labor shortages. Some studies and local initiatives are exploring how to connect asylum seekers and refugees with these job opportunities, arguing that economic inclusion is the most effective path to successful integration. It's a pragmatic approach that benefits both the newcomers and the local economy, though it often stands in stark contrast to the dominant national narrative. So, where does this leave France in 2026? The country is grappling with three major flashpoints. First, there's the northern coast, centered around Calais. It remains the epicenter for those trying to reach the UK, a landscape defined by dangerous crossings, a heavy police presence, and the constant cycle of camp evacuations. Second, you have Paris and other major urban areas. These cities are dealing with high concentrations of asylum seekers in temporary, often substandard accommodation, pushing their social services to the brink. And third, there's the often forgotten crisis in Mayotte, an overseas territory facing immense migratory pressure with limited resources. In summary, the outlook for 2026 is defined by a fundamental tension. On one hand, France is building a higher, more technologically advanced wall around itself, and the EU policies are focused on deterrence, faster processing, and accelerated deportations. On the other hand, the humanitarian realities on the ground persist. The people arriving in France are not just numbers in a database. They are individuals and families with compelling reasons for leaving their homes. The push factors war, instability, climate change are not going away. This creates a perpetual crisis where the government's security-focused policies clash daily with the basic human need for shelter, safety, and a chance at a better life. The core question for France remains: can it reconcile its desire for control with its humanitarian obligations? As of 2026, that balance has not yet been found, and the crisis continues. Thank you for watching. If you found this video informative, please give it a like and subscribe for more in-depth analysis of global issues.